this is the transatlantic relationship going off the rails. I think we're seeing that there's a clear incentive for security cooperation in the Arctic. I think the actions by Denmark and some of the allies to take seriously the security situation by moving some troops to Greenland to signal that they're ready to invest, being met by threats of sanctions. Imagine an ally moving troops within its own sovereign territory, being sanctioned for doing so. This is NATO. This is NATO where you have a Secretary General who doesn't speak up for the principle of political solidarity or sovereignty. I think this is a very, very bad sign for the alliance, and it's a sign that something bigger is going on in terms of who's driving this agenda, and it's about President Trump and his desire for territorial control.
And just picking up on that point there, because it was originally said that this deployment of troops over to Greenland, that was to kind of show Trump that they had control over the security, to reassure them when it comes to potential threats from Russia and China over on Greenland. But this is clearly backfired. Trump clearly sees this as some kind of threat. So does this mean that Trump's interests in Greenland all along were not necessarily just focused on security, but much rather focused on expanding the US and on his legacy?
I think we're seeing that there's a discrepancy between security rationales, and they can be dealt with. There's the diplomacy for dealing with that, how to strike a deal and where to position forces, who's going to invest to do what. And then on the other hand, the desire for political control and ownership. And the latter is clearly what is driving President Trump's calculus, his desire for control, aggrandizement, and what the Danish foreign minister and the Greenland foreign representative the other day tried in Washington, D.C. was to open a diplomatic track focused on the security rationales, but clearly that is going nowhere.
And Sten, it's clear that President Trump isn't messing around when it comes to Greenland with this threat over Greenland. And we've seen this united pushback from Europe. But the question seems, what do they do about it? So talk to me about the options they have and what you think is the most credible path forward.
Well, I think the option is to very rapidly come together politically, because at the end of the day, defense and deterrence is about political credibility. And we keep talking about the limits of European defense capabilities, and they're all there. This is true. But it's time for Europeans to signal that at a political level, they are really united. They will stand together and defend the principles of sovereignty. And with some strong political signals, Europe can start a conversation across the Atlantic that will also have a deterrent effect against Russia. There's no way around this very strong political signal.
But Sten, when it comes to diplomacy, that hasn't really worked so far. They still seem to be at loggerheads. There's talks now about using the anti-coercion instrument. Do you think that is enough to deter Trump? And also, how difficult do you think it's going to be to get unity from Europe on what the collective response should be, given that they don't always tend to agree when it comes to these things?
Well, I think if the United States continues down the path outlined by Trump, Europe should be ready for a trade war. This is violating allied sovereignty is not a way forward in a partnership.